Hello everyone. In continuation with numerical integration, we'll be dealing with Simpson's integral today. At the end of the session, you'll understand the Simpson's integral. You can approximate the integral using the integral Simpson's, and we'll have a glance at numerical integration. Simpson's rule has been named after the English mathematician Thomas Simpson. He's from 1710 to 1761, which approximates the value of definite integral by using the quadratic function. And we can find out this quadratic function using the three different points. So here, like we used to have the trapezoidal only 2 points. Here we'll be using a three different points to evaluate that. Then to obtain an approximation of an integral, so it is integration from a to b f of x dx under the that means in the interval a comma b, and here there is a condition, that is I need to have this n as my even number. I need to have this n as an even number, and therefore, and the same thing is delta x is nothing but b minus a by n. Okay, now Simpson's integration, as we have seen in the previous, it is integration from a to b f of x dx. That means I have to aware of this what is the lower and upper limit and the function. So here one each pair of consecutive. Let me just explain it with a figure. So suppose, for example, these are the 3 points of the curve. Suppose xi minus 1, xi, and here there is xi plus 1. So I have to have corresponding functions. So this is what is the quadratic curve is nothing but y. Quadratic is like ax square plus bx plus c. So let us suppose this is the most possible curve we can find out through this. Now I have to integrate. So if I wanted to have this area under this curve, this area under this quadratic curve, I need to integrate this integral from the point x minus 1 to x plus 1 of this function. That means what exactly I have got a quadratic function. That means I need to have integration of this y here, this y dx, right? And from the limit. So this is what nothing but it's integration from xi minus 1 to xi plus 1, and it is of x square plus bx plus c and dx, which will you'll be getting as something like this. It's ax cube by 3 plus bx square by 2 plus cx, and the upper and the lower limit. Now what just it so few steps I'll be showing you here just to have an understanding what exactly we are doing it here. We are finding out this integral, and we'll be finding out the area under this curve. So I have got my function, I have got the points under which I wanted to have a integral here. I'll be getting this integral after simplification. We'll be getting this integral. Yeah, as I have told you, it's n should be an even number. We'll be getting this integral as the f of x is continuous, obviously here. So its ai is this delta x by 3, and this is f of x minus I, and 4 times f of xi and f of x plus 1. So this is after doing so many calculations in between. So we'll be reaching to this formula. Now this formula is only for I minus 1 to I plus 1 and xi. So I have got this formula for I minus 1 xi, that is I minus 1 I and I plus 1. Similarly, we'll be finding out other three. So suppose my curve is this, and we are considering a set of 3 points as my first set of 3 points, again set of 3 points again, and in this way you'll be getting this figure like this, right? These are nothing but, so I'll be just replacing my I with the points from between a to b, and I'll be getting this as my final answer. That means this as my final approximation, you can say that. So integration a to b f of x dx is nothing but getting approximated to delta x by 3 f of x0 plus 4 times f of x1 plus 2 times f of x2 plus 4 times f of x3, and so on. That means if I wanted to have this very simple formula, so it will be, I can write down this as delta x by 3, right? And I'll be clubbing, so I'll write down this and this in one bracket. So my first bracket is just a first and the second function here, and right, and this is then just collect the terms which are having the coefficient as 4 4. So if you'll observe, I have got the coefficients of 4 as the points are x1, x3, x5, x7. So in short, what it is, nothing but 4 into the odd points here. You can say odd points here. So like x1, then x5, right, x5, and so on. So in this way, I'll be getting the functions like this. Similarly, I'll be getting two times the rest of the one. I have collected the first term here, the first term here, the last term here, and 4 times the odd terms here. So the odd coefficient like is as in f of x1, f of x3, f of x7, and so on. 2 times f of x2, f of x4, f of x6, and so on. You'll be getting it in this, and this is what I'm going to get it at the end. So this is nothing but, you can just club it for your understanding. Then the coefficient of this is nothing but, if you'll observe this entire series here, it will be like 1, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, and 1. So that is what I have collected, this one coefficient together, this 4 coefficients as the one bracket, 4 coefficients as the one bracket, and this 2 as the another one, 2 is another one. So in short, delta x by 3 under this square bracket, I'm going to get 1, which is the first and the last term, 4 times the odd plus 2 times the even. Okay, let us go for the first example. It's n is equals to 4 and approximating 0 to 8 square root of x dx. What is this? First, I need to go for delta x, as we are doing it every time. I need to find out what should be the length of that simple interval, one interval. So it's of 2 unit, because it's b minus a. It's b minus a by n, that is 8 minus 0 by 4, that is 2. And therefore, my endpoints would be 0, because it's a lower limit is 0. So 0, 2, 4, and 8. So I need to calculate the values at every point. What is my f of x here? F of x is square root of x. So this is what is square root of x, is my f of x, right? So f of x0, that is f of 0 is square root of 0, 1, 0, 1, so on. And f of x1 as my 2, f of 2 is square root of 2. Then the square root of 4, that is 2. F square root of 6, then square root of 8 is 2, square root of 2, and so on. Then just I have to take those values, put it in this formula, because it's just for 4 values, like because I have got only 4 and as equals to 4 intervals. So it's square root of x dx is delta x upon 3, and this values, I'm just taking the values from this here. So it's a 0 and square root of 2, 2, square root 6, and 2 root 2. So these are the values I'll be getting, this 14.86. Now, what is the true solution here? That means the exact solution. Exact solution, if you'll observe, it's like a simple integral. We have to find out usual integral, you can say. X to the power 1 by 2, 0 to x dx, x to the power 3 by 2 by 3 by 2, and so on. I'm going to get the value of this after putting the upper and the lower limit here. We'll be getting 15.08, whereas by the numerical method, we have got 14.86. Okay, now this is what is, I have kept it freeze here in the slide. That is nothing but a new concept. It's known as the error in approximating the integral. That means what? This is what is the actual integral or exact integral. What is this method is giving us the answer. This method is giving us the answer 14.86. So the error, that means the actual answer and the methodological numerical value, there is a difference. What is, how much is the difference? Is 0.015, and we are always taking it modulus. That means we want the error in the positive, because it's nothing but 1.5% error in this particular method for this particular question. Okay, so using Simpsons, again I need to go for my f of x. Now this is also one of the way to express this question. That is, it's been given to you as f of x is sin x, and the lower and the upper limit have given, as well as this, the sub intervals has been given. Again, this is because I need to have 4 intervals here. So this is what is the x delta x as pi by 4. We have got it here, pi by 4, and this is 0, pi by 4, pi by 2, 3 pi by 4, and pi. And f of x0 is, this is nothing but it's a very sine function. So I'm just putting the value, replacing the value x as 0. This is value as 0. The value of the function at pi by 4 is square root of 2 by 2. value of the function at pi by 2 is 1, and value of the function at 3 pi by 4 is this square root of 2 by 2, and pi, the value of pi at of sine will be 0. So what will be my final answer? Final answer, again, I need to approximate the question. This formula has been already given here. So this formula, I'm just taking the values and putting this formula. I'm getting the value as this. So it's pi upon 6 to root 2 plus 1. It's not required that you will always have a one digit answer. You can just leave the answer here. It's pi by 6 2 square root of 2 plus 1. And now let us see the numerical, because in this session I'll be just dealing with the two, that is trapezoidal and the Simpsons rule. But there is one more. Normally, whenever the Simpsons rule has been said, that is always it's been going to 1/3 rule. There is one more, that is a 3/8 rule. Let us see what is it. Now in the trapezoidal rule, now one different notation I have used. This notation H I have used is purpose, with the purpose that most of the cases the books are giving, instead of delta x, are giving H. H is what? Which is nothing but R delta x, and which is that upper limit minus the lower limit divided by the number of intervals. So H is again same as that of delta x, right? So whatever it is, this H or delta x, it will be same. The formula is, for the trapezoidal rule, is h by 2 y0 plus 2 times this remaining plus the term. So if you'll observe, this is my first term, this is the last term. The coefficients are 1. The other coefficients are 2 times, and they have clubbed in one bracket. So this is the trapezoidal rule. What is Simpson's 1/3? Simpson's is n. You just have to remember that third. That means here it will come as a 3 here. So it's h by 3. Again, it's a first term and the last term coefficients as 1. 4 times, as I've told you, 4 times y1, y3, y5, and so on, yn plus 1. Now, this y1 is nothing but I've set it as f of x1, f of x2, f of x3, and so on. So there is just a little bit of change in the presentation, but the meaning of this presentation will remain the same. It's 2y2 plus this is again, it's like 2, 4, 6, and so on. The coefficient is 2. Now Simpson's 3/8 rule is nothing but 3h by 8, right? 3h by 8 here, and y0 my first and the last term, whereas this is 2 times. If you observe y3, y6, and so on, and it is n minus 3. So what is it? It is nothing but the multiples of 3. This, so 2 times all the terms which are there from multiple of 3, like y3, y6, y9, y12, and so on. These terms will appear in this bracket, and the coefficient is 2 of that bracket, and the rest of the terms would be here at 3 times. So this is the Simpson's 3/8 rule. Now, for example, one question has been given and they are asking you to find out you can compare the values of that numerical with trapezoidal or Simpson's 1/3 or Simpson's 3/8. What should be my n, so that n will be applicable for all these three. So for example, if you observe trapezoidal, there is no constraint on n. Simpsons, yes, there is a constraint on n, that is n should be even, and this is n should be a multiple of 3, right? So that means what? I should have to have my n in such a way that I will be getting 1, 2, 3. For 3 of them, I should be getting some value in such a way that it will be common for all of them. So this is the middle point is n is equals to 6. It's not been recommended, but yes, you can easily say that for example, if I'll keep n equals to 6 and I'll find out my tabular values of all the functions at all the points, then I could find out my trapezoidal rule, I could find out my Simpson's 1/3 rule, and even I can go for my 3/8 rule. So it's very important to understand all these formulae and understand and approximate the given integral. I hope you have understood this numerical integration, Simpson's rule, trapezoidal rule, and 3/8 rule. Thank you. Wish you good luck. Happy learning.